Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co. I'm the Rational Investor Brian Beamish with your Bitcoin summary here for Monday, August 4th, 2014. We're now officially into the dog days of summer, so it's understandable volatility and raw action have sort of come out of the market. Not a big surprise here. We may find that this grind sort of goes on into Labor Day. That really wouldn't surprise me at all. So, and then once Labor Day comes back, then all the pros come back from the Hamptons, and we can start the game all over again for the coming year. So with that in mind, I'm still sort of working out this platform. I've been at this new website now, the RationalInvestor.co, for about a month or so. I mean, really, we haven't been around that long. And these videos themselves, they're sort of a work in progress. What I think I like to do is use the YouTube free service to give you maybe a 5-10 minute summary of what I see going on in the broader picture. And then the second part, which is a sort of a follow-up of that, is what I post in the member section of this Rational Investor in the Crypto Live Room. That will be sort of more detailed 4 hour, 1 hour, and if we feel crazy, maybe even 15 minutes. Speaking of which, in the Crypto Live Room, I've taken some time over the weekend. I altered the chart little tablet a little bit, so now we have a nice little quote list of all of the cryptocurrencies that TradingView follows, as well as a nice chart applet. Just sits in there really nicely and happily. And as in the tutorial, like I said, you can always expand or contract the quote pane. And then I've also included the little live BTC chart. It's an iframe function. So you can literally just chart away from the Crypto Live Room itself, and like hello all, and say it types in hello all. So works really cool. Worked this weekend over the blank chart template and crypto market matrix sites. We won't get into that too much because today's just a daily view, but lots of good stuff to look at in there. And of course, the Crypto Daily blog is just marching right along. Just every time I think of something or I see a chart that I'm interested, I just fire it up, and basically, it's just good stuff for you to chew on a daily basis. So I'm really stoked about that. And of course, the school is just marching right along. Really excited about the school. Now we're into, we've already done week, I guess so, we're finished week 4. And just marching through our curriculum. It's a 12-week program, so everything's going really well with that. So, okay, so let's start. I just wanted to give you guys an update of what it is we're doing over here, and how you can benefit from this. In the tutorial section, actually, this is something that's sort of open to the public, and because this is the free video, I'll mention it here. I have 2 very simple setups that I like to trade, and so I've included those just slideshow presentations of those setups. So if you want to take a look at what it is that I'm looking for specifically from price action, those are in there as well. So little helpfuls. All right, so without further ado, let's get on to the analysis. And because price is moving so sideways, I'm not like jumping up and down here. But like I said, for the YouTube program, we'll probably look at this overview, be relatively short, and if you want to get more information, dig in more, that's when you pop over to the pay site. Crypto Live is an awesome little site where I post those detailed videos for your inspection there. All right, so here's our daily chart, and as we know the story, big run up last fall, spent the better part of winter and spring cleaning up that big run up, back into the OTE long zone, optimal trade entry if institutions are going to buy. Where are they most likely to be a buyer? 61.8 to 78.6 fibs are very popular with them. I also put on some vertical lines here because I wanted to see what the effect of month ends were on BTC, and I do notice that they actually act as a bit of a pivot, so that's what those vertical lines are all about. If we look at the chart now going the other direction, if we believe that this maybe is a pivot zone and we've turned, then what are OTEs going up the other way, assuming that this is a range market for the time being? And we can see we have nice target window, 806 up to 933, 61.8 up to 78.6. And I often in my, well, not often, in my fib sort of tutorials and in all of my classes, I talk about the 38.2 as being an important fib level. I call it my first stop target. And then you can also see year to date, we had the 50% level. That's Mr. Gann. He sets his watch to the 50% levels. So not a big surprise that the rally out of the OTE long zone has run into some traffic right in this area. Not a surprise at all. So, and I'm not saying that the market's going to rally up into the OTE short zone. All I'm saying here, and it's just as similar as this, is that we are always hunting for levels of area of interest where we think higher time frame participants might do something. So if we're like little Mr. Day Trader and the market's cranking down here, it's important for us to recognize the OTE long zone, and sure enough, anytime it got in there, it just shot right away. You had this one fat finger event. That was one guy selling down to $100. So the point here is that I'm not saying that the market's going to go to the OTE short zone, but what I am saying is if there are going to be, if we have bottomed off of these lows, where is the area where I think that institutions, if they are going to start shorting this thing and really putting in a top, where's that most likely to come in? And that's this whole concept of the OTE. So I've sort of made the argument that, I think we sort of had like a slam dunk trade that came out of this inverted head and shoulders, and now we're in the chop. And this is very hard trading. And while we're in the chop, I would argue we're range bound between this high here, that's that 668, and the lows here, which I think were 545, 50. So not a big surprise to see us basically just playing ping pong between these two levels. We had been talking recently about how we had market structure top in the momentum, and we had this bearish momentum divergence that was still playing out in the raw momentum reading, and we had OBV not looking overly excited at the, previously. Those are starting to clean up now, so I'm encouraged. While this bear momentum divergence hasn't been broken, at least we have turned a little bit here on the short term. So we'll see where this takes us. If we can come down, put in another bottom, and then turn up, we actually have a little bit of a double bottom to work with. Very similar to how this double topped right through here and then broke down. It's still too early. On the Willie, we had a little bit of a market structure bottom. This was really messy, and I sort of suggested that I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go through some real nasty sort of chop as we find our bottom here. And so that's kind of what's happened here, back and forth, real choppy chop. And Willie's not really oversold, he's not down here in the stupid area. So, really flip of the coin kind of idea where she goes from now. We could easily break back down and get stupid again, or we can continue this higher and see, where this up thrust takes us. So really no, hint as direction from there. And the on-balance volume, of course, we're talking summer doldrums, so we're talking very low volumes. And so what I see here is maybe the smatterings of a bottom. You notice how OBV came back to its moving average, right? This is such a handy little tool, right back to the moving average, then backed off, just as price rallied right back to this trend line and the moving averages and backed off. So we have to see some sort of resolution here. If we W, if we see this come out of this, then hey, that would be great. Bulls go hurrah. But right now, we still have to respect the fact that we're still kind of making lower highs. We're sort of doing that right now. So which way do we go? But we've already been making lower highs. So just be cognizant of that. So I don't really see anything compelling for us to jump up and down here on the daily chart, just lots of back and forth. And really, like we said, this is the dog days of August. You know, there might be something developing here, might be something, but nothing really definitive just yet. If we look at price action itself, uh, here's 45.50, right? Here was that key low, 555.01. They took it out by 1 penny and then reversed it right back into resistance. You know, so you had these two moving averages and you had this trend line that just acted as a brick wall. And then we see off the lower time frames that that was a pretty significant fib in itself. So we backed away from that level, and so now we're going to see whether that level's for real, right? You know, here is that previous trading range zone that I've been talking about for quite some time. And my note here was break of this consolidation dictate trade, and indeed it did. The market traded bearish. Interesting how we rallied back up and we couldn't even get back to that breakdown point. And when we look at the lower time frames, you'll see how this might be suggesting that we have maybe go up and kiss that. So that's basically your daily summary here for the YouTube. You know, that's about 5-7 minutes or so. Don't really want to overwhelm you with information. Try and keep it as simple as possible. You know, the long and short of the Bitcoin market right now is it's basically range bound, 668 to 545. And we're just playing ping pong between these two kind of trend line yahoos right now. We lost a significant trend line here recently. We're trying to recapture it. This should be a really interesting battle right here. If the bulls can recapture this trend line, this green line, and the 30 SMA, then, you know, probably going to take a rally back up to the top of the trading range. So, you know, if you can make money off $150 trading range, then great, go for it. But if you're Mr. Buy and Hold, really, there's not a heck of a lot to do right now. So, summer doldrums, not a big surprise. You know, I think continuing that notion earlier that I said, you know, if I was an institution and I was thinking about buying, where would I buy? And we've been talking about this bigger potential inverted head and shoulders, neckline, head, neckline, maybe shoulder. Here I do see OTE sitting 437. So if we do lose this 550 area, and frankly I don't have a crystal ball, I don't really see any clear directions just yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. But if we do lose this, then high probability we're heading down into this 450 area, right? It hasn't happened yet, but we should all be cognizant of that. And then on the flip side, if we can recapture these resistance zones, and I think 630, if we look at the 4 hours, we see it. It represents a bought long level. If we resolve bullishly, then we can realistically start shooting for $800. This is this bull ABCD. So she's on a crossroads right now. She's leaning a little bit bearish. Have to be careful there. We definitely have two areas of interest that are quite far away from the market. So whichever way she does decide to resolve out of this, we're probably going to get some fireworks out of it. And that will either set up a selling opportunity if we rally up top, or a buying opportunity if we tank down lower. Okay, so why don't we leave it at that? You guys have a great day. All the best. Good luck in your trading, and we'll talk to you again.